What's going on, everyone? Max Forti back again with another video. This is a subject that I get asked about every year. You know, people are asking me, hey, what should I wear for a job interview? So in this video, it's going to be like a guide to the perfect professional scent. Whether you're a blue collar, whether you work at an office, whether you're starting your new job or you're going for a job interview, I definitely got you covered. In this video, I'm going to talk about 20 plus fragrances. We're going to highlight probably 15 of them, my favorite professional scents of all time. If you guys want to smell amazing, put your best foot forward and really make a difference, guys, stick around. This one's for you. Welcome back to another video. I'm Max Forti. Today is about professional fragrances, work fragrances, whether blue collar, office, it doesn't matter, high end, it doesn't matter what type of job you have. You're definitely going to smell amazing. You're not going to smell bold. You're not going to smell brash. You're not going to, draw attention to yourself for the wrong reasons. These are going to be inoffensive, appealing, easy to wear, easy to please, hence the fact they're here. This is going to be a top 15. I broke this down to 3 tiers. The tier 1 is going to be like a getting your feet wet, getting started. Perhaps you only have one fragrance for work. That is also your signature scent that you can wear for all sorts of scenarios. So most likely, all fragrances here, not most likely, all fragrances are going to be very versatile. I think the key word here is tasteful and versatility. So without any further ado, let's hop into this. Again, broke down into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is going to be the initial tier, more affordable for everyone here, blue collar. All these fragrances really fit the bill for anybody except for probably the last tier here, which is going to be a little bit more pricey. So maybe you have to have a more seasoned nose, appreciate some of the more expensive or high-end fragrances to really cough up some of these, prices. But for the most part, tier 1 and 2 will fit everybody. So let's hop right into it. First choice here, we have tier 1 for someone who's getting started. I think this is a perfect fragrance that will be like a jack of all trades if you have the money to get started and you want one perfect scent to fit all sorts of different scenarios and occasions. I would go with Artisan Pure from Varvatos or Varvatos. I heard through the grapevine that this has been discontinued. I don't know 100%. It's still available out there in your store, general store. It's available at discounters, so you can find this very easily. And what this is, it's going to be a very nice citrus aromatic scent. It's fruity, it's woody in the base. There's a little vetiver going on. What this reminds me of, it's like a spicier, stronger version of Tom Ford Neroli Portofino. So if you like those type of fragrances or Colonia 4711, it's the kind of fragrance that we're talking about here with a little bit of more of a woody base than the fragrances I talked about. But great one. If you're in a budget, it's going to be like $50 or less for a bottle of this, and you're going to smell amazing. You're going to smell professional, very well put together in the office. The next one here for the tier 1 is going to be a very underrated fragrance that I never hear about, which is going to be Presence from MONTBLANC. Now this is going to be a fruity, woody, sandalwood, lavender base kind of a fragrance. It's very creamy. I believe there's a pineapple. There's a fruit note. Maybe it's apple. Maybe it's green apple up front with this creamy sandalwood base and also some spices, also cinnamon in here. But it smells very creamy and fruity, especially in the dry down. It's going to smell great. It's going to garner compliments. Again, as I talked before, whether you're blue collar or you work in an office, you want to be smelling great. You want to put your best foot forward. And these fragrances are definitely going to enhance your style. It's going to elevate the way you smell and how people are going to perceive you, and you're going to be very appealing. Next one here is going to be a fragrance that is very compared to Chanel Allure Homme Sport. This is going to be more affordable. This is actually a 200 ml bottle, and this, of course, we're talking about VERSACE Pour Homme, Signature Pour Homme, the original. Now, this is going to be a very sharp, citrus, woody base type of a fragrance. Again, it smells very similar to Chanel Allure Homme. It smells great, it's fruity, it's citrus, it's woody, it's appealing, it's very clean, it's very crisp, very sharp, but in a very clean and very refreshing manner. A great fragrance that I love to wear in the summer and springtime. Again, always gets me positive attention. And again, all these fragrances are going to have this very clean character to them, a very smooth and crisp and invigorating and refreshing characteristic about them, which is going to make you smell amazing. Second to last year from the first tier is going to be DUNHILL Icon. This is the original Icon. I love this fragrance, which is basically a floral vetiver kind of a fragrance. I love vetiver. Again, very appealing, very fresh, very citrus. very woodsy in the base. This is probably the spicier of the all four fragrances I talked about here, but it's got this really woody spiciness to it that is just very elegant and very sophisticated. DUNHILL Icon, a great fragrance. The bottle looks great. It's going to look great in your vanity, whatever you keep your fragrances. And again, not going to break the wallet, and you're going to smell amazing. The last fragrance here is going to be another one that's criminally underrated from the house of Cartier, which is one of my favorites. It's not going to be Parfum. Instead, it's Déclaration, the original EDT. You can go with the Parfum, which has a heavier patchouli, but if you want to go with the original EDT, which is my favorite, this fragrance I actually wore for many years in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was like actually my first, work signature scent. It smells amazing. It has this really beautiful fruity vetiver in the base, in the same family as like Byredo Bal de Freak. So if you like that fragrance, it doesn't smell like it, but it's in the same family of this oriental or woody spicy kind of a vibe. Great stuff here. Not going to be overbearing, not going to be overpowering. Instead, it's going to smell very sophisticated and elegant. Let's talk about the second tier now. This second tier is going to be fragrances that are going to be a little more expensive. I want to say these are going to be like 50 plus, with exception of one, which is the first one I'm going to talk about. Now, this fragrance I like to wear in the fall and winter time. But remember, when you're in the office, the climate is going to be controlled. Whether it's in the summertime, you have AC going on. If it's in the wintertime, hopefully you have the heater going on. So the temperature is going to be like a room temperature. But when you're going out and about, if you're outside, especially if you're blue collar, if you're working outside, this is going to be a great one, guys. It's going to be Salvatore Ferragamo F Black. Now, Salvatore Ferragamo, for those of you that don't know, like Cartier, like Issey Miyake, they produce some really great fragrances that will never break the bank. They're always going to be found at discounters. And this one here is going to be a great Olivier Poge, fragrance. Olivier Poge now is the Chanel in-house perfumer, so you know this is quality stuff. This is going to be a little heavier, a little bit creamier. There's going to be more spices going on here. Very peppery up top, but it's, again, very sophisticated, very clean, very smooth. It's not going to be overbearing, but you can't go too crazy on the trigger on this one, on Salvatore F Black, because it's going to be a little spicier, a little bit stronger than the fragrances I talked about so far. Another one that's going to be a little more expensive, but it's going to smell great. Also has a beautiful apple up top. It's very fruity, very aromatic. It's going to be this fragrance here from Yves Saint Laurent. And of course, this is Homme, the original Homme, the pioneer of this whole YSL Homme collection. I believe it was released in 2007 or 8, if I'm not mistaken. This is a great fragrance. It's very, very crisp. The apple up top is very crisp. It's very aromatic. It's got a little creaminess to it. I think there's sandalwood in here as well. But it is not too spicy, not too heavy. It's a little citrus. It's a little fruity. It's got a little bit of everything, but it's blended to perfection. Yves Saint Laurent does it well. This is not going to be very strong. Again, you don't want anything that's going to push, the envelope too hard. And none of these fragrances here will do that. Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme is definitely a crowd pleaser. It's going to get you smelling amazing. It's definitely going to pull some compliments as well. Speaking of compliments, if you do enjoy compliments, there's a fragrance here from MONTBLANC as well. Again, another company that has incredible fragrances that will never break your wallet. This is going to be Explorer, which was released in 2019. I have a full review on this fragrance. I'll pop it up here if you want to know more about this fragrance. Now, what this fragrance smells like, it smells like a $500 fragrance, Creed Aventus, which is an amazing compliment-getting fragrance. It's got bergamot. Now, this is going to be fruitier. We all know, if you guys follow the fragrance community, we all know that Aventus has a tendency to become a little smoky, and some batches are even smokier. This does not have the birch, the smokiness that you have with some Aventus batches. Instead, it's going to be a very fruity, very appealing, very aromatic type of a fragrance. That's citrus aromatic with a woody base, guys. Incredible. MONTBLANC Explorer, you can find this heavily discounted. You can get a 60 ml bottle that's going to be very cheap, ridiculous price, and you're going to be the best smelling guy in your office. Next up, we have, now this is going to be the two more expensive here in this list, from the second tier, that is. If you have a little bit more of a seasoned nose, if you have, perhaps you're in your 30s, you want something a little stronger, I would suggest going with Terre Eau HERMES, not the original, not the Parfum, not the Eau Fresh, but the Eau Vetiver, the Eau Intense Vetiver. Now, this fragrance here smells like another Creed. It smells like spice and wood a little bit. It's going to be this very spicy vetiver, very fruity, but it's got this really nice fruity vetiver base to the fragrance. Again, very similar to Déclaration, but it's going to be a little heavier, a little spicier, and it's going to last a little longer than the fragrance I talked about. This is actually very heavy when it comes to the power. It's very concentrated. I wouldn't go crazy on the sprays on this one as well. But if you want something a little bit heavier and you love vetiver fragrances, I could perfectly give you other vetiver scents that would be great. I could talk about some blue scents as well, but I don't want to give you guys the norm. I don't want to talk about your Bleu de Chanels, your Dior Sauvages. Of course, they will cater to this particular occasion and setting for the work environment, but I don't want you to smell like everybody else. That's why I'm giving you some fragrances here that are a little bit more unique. And again, speaking of which, you know, for another vetiver fragrance, you could go with Guerlain's vetiver, which is great, but again, it's going to be more old school. You can go with Grey Vetiver from Tom Ford, which has been heavily reformulated, doesn't last as long as it used to. So I think Terre Eau Eau Intense Vetiver is a great choice for vetiver lovers like myself. And last but not least, with this tier here, I'm going to talk about this one here, which is quite common, if you will, in the fragrance community, but not as much in the regular world out there. I don't see a lot of people wearing this. And it is a take on a very popular fragrance, Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. This is going to be the Profumo edition, which in my opinion, it is the best of all the flankers, with the exception of the special blend, which is very hard to find and very expensive because it was a limited edition. But the Profumo here is not going to let you down. This one here is going to take the original DNA of Acqua di Gio, which is amazing, this, you know, aquatic floral type of a fragrance, and it's going to add two elements that will make this stronger, longer lasting, and very appealing, which is the incense and the patchouli. It smells amazing. Again, it's a compliment pulling fragrance. If you're somebody that wants to smell great in the office, you want people to really appreciate the way you smell. You want perhaps to get some compliments here and there. If you have some meetings, if you have to do presentations, I would definitely, even if you're blue collar and you have a little dough to spend, you want to, go all out, definitely check this one out. I know one thing is for sure, you're not going to disappoint. Now, this last tier here is going to be very expensive, hence the fact that I left it on tier 3, and perhaps you're going to have a more seasoned nose, more experienced nose. I'm sure if you're in the fragrance community for a long time, you've heard of all these fragrances here, but they're going to be very classy. Again, a little more expensive than anything I talked about. Some of these you won't even be able to find on Discounter's website. So this is going to be Tom Ford's Beau de Jour, straight from their private blend into the signature collection. This is a great fragrance for those that like barbershop fougere type of fragrances. This is going to have a very predominant lavender, spicy lavender, even a little bit powdery at the base. But it's full, it's big, it's a nice fragrance, it's a boss CEO type of a fragrance. If you really want a fragrance to stand out, to really make an impression, really make a statement when you walk into a room, this has a tremendous sillage, so it's going to give you a tremendous scent trail. I would definitely suggest Beau de Jour from Tom Ford, which is a great barbershop fougere type of a fragrance. If you like this barbershop fougere type of a fragrance, I would also introduce you or talk to you guys about this fragrance here, which is going to be a little bit more bold, even bolder than Tom Ford Beau de Jour. It's going to be Saharov Signature Homme, not the Noir, not the Royale, but the original. This is going to have a lot of spices in here. It adds a beautiful note of patchouli at the base, along with a gorgeous oud note and other spices. You know, the oud, we know it's a very bold and brash type of a note, sometimes medicinal, sometimes fecal. Could be overbearing. This is sweet, it's spicy, but it's also creamy. I mean, look how much I wear this juice. I've had this fragrance for a couple of years now, but I wear this a lot for the office setting. When I really want to make it stand out, I don't think anybody in your office is going to be wearing this fragrance. It's a little bit on the pricier side, but I'm telling you, this smells absolutely incredible. I have a full review on this one. I'm not going to go too much into these fragrances. This video is going to be long enough as it is, but I'll pop it up here if you guys want to know all about this fragrance. Definitely check out the review. It's going to be, again, an oriental, spicy slash fougere barbershop type of a fragrance. It's like a neo-fougere type of a fragrance. Let's talk about the quintessential masculine fragrance of all time. Definitely one of my favorites. Released in '85, but it's still timeless and classic today. If you wear this fragrance, one thing is for sure, you're going to smell incredible. And I'm talking about Creed's Green Irish Tweed. The nose behind this fragrance here is Pierre Bourdon, which is also the nose behind Cool Water, released in 1988. 3 years after this one, they share a lot of similar, characteristics, the same vibe. But Green Irish Tweed has this lemon verbena, which is uncanny. Nothing quite smells like this one. It's got the ambergris, which Creed is very well known for, which gives us a salty and earthy kind of a vibe, along with a gorgeous violet leaf kind of a vibe. This is green. It's herbal. It's sharp, but very elegant, very sophisticated. Like I said, the quintessential masculine fragrance of all time, guys. Check this out if you haven't. I know you're going to be pleasantly surprised. The two last options here is going to be Chanel Egoiste. Now, Chanel Egoiste has rosewood, has ebony wood. There's a lot of woods here. It's a woody, spicy, but it has this very uncanny vibe about it. It's a little bit spicy. It's a little bit creamy, a little bit floral. but it has this gorgeous sandalwood, rosewood, and ebony wood dry down, which gives this a very, you know, unique trifecta of woods in the base that is nothing like I've ever smelled. It has also a honey accord in the middle, along with an aldehydic vibe that's very, you know, common with Chanel fragrances. Very nice fragrance, very sophisticated, understated beauty right here, elegant. You're not going to disappoint, guys. You're going to smell amazing in the office. Last but not least, the last fragrance here for tier 3 is going to be a fragrance from one of my favorite, I think it's safe to say it's my favorite designer house of all time, from Dior. Eau Sauvage is definitely a classic, and I could have definitely suggested and recommend you guys wearing that fragrance, but it's going to be in the same vein as this one, perhaps a little bit more citrus than this, not as woody, not as spicy, but also a great one, Eau Sauvage. But I would go with this one right here, Eau Sauvage Parfum, which is actually now discontinued, but you can get the newer version released in 2017, which has the white seal here. I'm going to pop it up here so you guys can see what it looks like. Essentially, it's the same fragrance. The only difference, it's going to be a little lighter, not as strong as this one. This is basically bergamot, myrrh, and vetiver. Gorgeous fragrance, guys. Woody, earthy, spicy. This is a boss CEO type of a scent. If you want to smell amazing and really, you know, drop people's jaw when you walk into a room, wow, what is this guy wearing? Is this the boss? You're going to feel and you're going to smell like the boss. Eau Sauvage Parfum, whether you go the 2012 release, which is discontinued, or the 2017 release, you're going to smell like the boss. So there you go, guys. We talked about 20 plus fragrances here. The most professional, great scents for the work environment. Again, if you're going for an interview or it's your first job, I would go with something a little lighter like Artisan Pure from Varvatos, or something a little bit more tamed like, you know, VERSACE pour Homme. But if you're already in the job for a while now, you've had the same job for a few years now, you can experience with different things like this one right here, Ferragamo F Black. You can go a little bit more old world, you know, class and finesse with this beautiful here, and this beautiful lavender fragrance, Tom Ford Beau de Jour. So it all depends on what kind of message you want to convey. If you want to play it safe, go with the, you know, lighter fragrances. If you want to go a little bit more bold but still appealing, still, you know, great for the work environment, perhaps go with tier 2 or tier 3. But again, all great fragrances, and I want to know what you guys normally work with as far as like when you're going for a job interview, in past, you know, job interviews that you've had. I want you guys to let me know in the comments, what are your favorite fragrance choices for job interviews or for the job setting? Whether you're a blue collar worker, you work in an office, whatever, you know, with the pandemic, I know many people aren't going to an office, but for the normal, let's go back to the norm here. If, you know, all things considered, for all intents and purposes, let's say we went back to the regular life here, you know, what would be your favorite choices for the work environment? Guys, go crazy in the comments. I'd love to read your comments. And of course, if you guys want to see perhaps a more bolder list, I can definitely put together a boss CEO all out, you know, money's not an issue here. You know, you can spend anything you want and you're going to smell like the boss. Like, this is going to be like the top CEO scents of all time. If you guys want to see like a list like that, please leave me a like. If this video hits 500 or more likes, I'll certainly come back with that boss CEO end all be all list for you guys as well. But I think this is a great starting point for a buying guide if you guys are looking to smell great. If you're going for a job interview or you have a job and you want to just smell your best, I think all 15, 20 fragrances we talked about here will fit the bill perfectly. Again, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for a lot more. And of course, hit the notification bell icon so you get videos like these straight into your feed. As always, remember, guys, fragrance is emotion in motion. It's an extension of who you are. So choose your fragrance wisely. And of course, wear it well. I'll see you guys again right here very soon. Take care.